Hey, nah, but for reals, before we even begin this video, click that like button, hit follow if you haven't already done so, leave a comment during the course of the video, but most importantly, at least hit a damn like button. Y'all, stop being shysty. Anyways, back to the program.
They hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Celebrate good times. Come on. It's a celebration now. Stop fronting on your boy, y'all. Stop acting like anybody else is giving you this kind of boxing content with this much personality in his space. Come on, y'all. Come on. Give your boy a round of applause. Can I at least get that much? Can I at least get that much? What's up with it, y'all? This is Hot Boxing Minute. Your boy, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with the uncut realness, because that's all I'm ever going to serve it to you. Hold on, before we even start, did you see my Joe Smith Jr., beast from the East, beast from the, give it up for Joe Smith Jr., local Union 66, Long Island's finest. This was autographed, actually. The autograph has since faded. Joe Smith Jr. was the first champion to ever give me an interview a few years back. I did a video already about how he's coming back against Zurdo Ramirez. Feel free to check that out when you get a chance. The topic of the issue we need to discuss is the fights coming up this weekend. On Saturday, September 23rd, two main fight cards, one out there in the UK in Wembley Arena. We got Big Bang Zhang, the return of Zhilei Zhang, and Joyce. And then in Orlando, Florida, we got the fight card headlined by Richardson HItchins against my guy Jose Zepeda. So let's start this off real quick with what's going on out there in the UK. I love the heavyweights, the big giants. It's just fun to watch like big, huge dudes fight each other. There's always going to be a audience, folks, and always big ticket sales that go to watching heavyweights fight, because it's just, out of all the fight divisions in boxing, you got middleweight, welterweight, glamour divisions like the lightweight and welterweight divisions. Everybody always wants to watch those heavyweights, whether or not they are nearly as skilled as the smaller divisions, which 9 times out of 10 they are not. There is a huge demand in general boxing publics, and especially amongst casuals, to see big 200 plus pound men, and especially in this modern era of boxing, these guys are walking around at like 6'5" minimum, 6'6".
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
Are you not entertained seeing the giants? So 5 months ago, hold on. 5 months ago, Big Bang Zhang, Zhilei Zhang, handed the juggernaut Joyce his first stoppage loss. And it was quite a spectacle to see. Joyce was the betting odds favorite going in. It wasn't a significant betting favorite. It just, Joyce, his normal approach of walking people down and eating punches was not as effective as it had been in the past. Joyce, you know, you don't want to take anything away from Joyce. Let me see if I'll put a picture up. Bam, that's the, can I make it even bigger? I don't know if I can make it any bigger, but, you know, you got the fight this weekend. Let's talk about the guy coming in that lost this fight the first time around before I start waxing poetic about Zhilei Zhang. So this weekend, Joyce is going to be fighting Zhilei Zhang in a rematch. Joyce was kind of slept on by general boxing fans for a minute there when he first started his pro career. Has a deep amateur pedigree. He won a silver medal in the 2016 Rio Games and was kind of fighting the usual slow step-up fights in the European circuit, and then he just started getting really high-profile wins against some of the best heavyweights in the division, and these were stoppage wins. Danny Dubois. He broke Danny Dubois' eye socket. Carlos Takam. Then Christian Hammer. Then he became the first person to get the knockout stoppage over Joseph Parker, sorry. And then he had that fight against Zhilei Zhang. But leading up to that fight against Zhilei Zhang, many people were talking about Joyce as being one of the top 5 heavyweights in the game, if not in the top 3. That's how much like kind of push he was getting from general boxing fans, and he looked to be unstoppable. It's unusual when you see Joyce because he appears to be slow and cumbersome. His big endearing quality amongst boxing fans was his ability to eat punches like Flintstones chewables. I'm not so sure if I agree with that. I don't like the description of people just constantly being able to eat punches. I'm not the biggest fan of that.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
Either way, Joe Joyce was having phenomenal success, and he was like an avalanche, building up steam in all of his fights, leading with that jab from the orthodox position. And once you'd see the opponent start to get tired as the rounds would wear on, that's when Joe Joyce would slowly start to break people down. And he was getting stoppage after stoppage after stoppage. And then he ran into Big Bang Zhang. And Big Bang Zhang had all the questions. He had all the questions that we wanted to ask of Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce was not able to answer all of them, unfortunately. But he's got a chance at redemption this weekend against Big Bang Zhang. The big boys are about to get down. We all know about Joe Joyce already. Like I said, he's a cumbersome dude, flat-footed, as are most heavyweights. He likes to lead in with the jab. He's got a very good jab. He just pops it out. Pops it. Prior to getting stopped by Zhilei Zhang, people were actually in boxing, in the comment sections in the boxing world, people say all kinds of stuff. And one of the things they were saying was that Joe Joyce is like the modern day George Foreman with the way he walks people down. Now, I'm not too sure about that designation, but, he definitely was beating the crap out of people. So he ran into Zhilei Zhang, and Zhilei Zhang just kind of came out of nowhere. Leading up to that fight with Joe Joyce, amongst your normal semi-casual boxing fans, they didn't really know too much about Zhilei Zhang. Well, he put himself up on the map by the way he did Joe Joyce up in that last fight. Now, Zhilei Zhang was a silver medalist in the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, and he had strung off a couple of decent wins. He caught his loss before the Joe Joyce fight against Filip Ergovic in a fight that many people feel that he should have won the decision on. And I think that was the one that really perked a lot of people's attention towards Zhilei Zhang, because everyone was talking about Filip Ergovic like he was some kind of boogeyman, and Big Bang Zhang was really giving him the business in that fight. I'm still not exactly sure why they give Filip Ergovic the nod in that fight, but he did have some cool wins over guys like Jerry Forrest, and if there's another big name on there, Andrei Rudenko, who was the guy that just fought Jared Anderson out here in the States. But it was definitely that fight against Joe Joyce. Big Bang Zhang is a big dude. He's 6'6". He's a southpaw. He's very educated in his approach, and he has knockout power. That man has pop, as can be evidenced by busting up Joe Joyce's eye and getting the stoppage wins over guys in his previous adventures inside the heavyweight division. He had rung off a string of knockouts, Scott Alexander, Craig Lewis. He got the decision against Jerry Forrest, Devin Vargas. These are just regular step-up names, but regardless, the talent was clearly visible there. And you saw it against Filip Ergovic that Zhilei Zhang was one to not be, looked at lightly or taken lightly. And then in that fight against Joe Joyce, you really got to see it, put it all together. He's got pop, he's got fluid movement, those his combinations well. And now he's going to get a chance, because of the rematch clause, to run it back with Joe Joyce, and we'll see if he can make lightning strike twice in the same place. Zhilei Zhang is a spectacle to watch in the ring. He's huge. He's Chinese. The Chinese people love him. He was setting all kind of viewership records when he was fighting. I'm looking forward to this event, folks. So, plenty of ways you can see the possibility of this. They're both in their late 30s. I think Joe Joyce is 36. Zhilei Zhang might be, I don't know, what is he, 39 years old? He's 40 years old, big 4-0. Not the end of the world when it comes to heavyweights, but being their age is what it is. It's very unlikely they're going to be able to add new facets to their skill set. Very unlikely at this age. They are who they are as fighters. Zhilei Zhang isn't the one coming into this fight that has something he needs to work on, though. It's Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce has the saving grace of having Ismail Salas in his corner. Ismail Salas is one of the best trainers in the game. He helped resurrect the career of, goodness, why am I forgetting his name? The guy that almost knocked out Devin Haney, Jorge Linares. I believe he works with Robesi Ramirez, but don't quote me on that one. I could be wrong about that one. But Ismail Salas is notoriously been one of the best trainers in the boxing game. If they can implement a game plan to where Joe Joyce can somehow not eat as many punches in the earlier part of the fight, they might have a chance at pulling this off. In that first fight with Big Bang Zhang, Joe Joyce was eating heavy leather almost from the first round onward. There was even a knockdown, if I'm not mistaken, in that first match between him and Big Bang Zhang. Joe Joyce does not get his head off the center line. Very unlikely he'll suddenly turn into an elusive fighter. Like I said, at their age, they are who they are. Maybe he could implement some kind of strategies to try to drag Big Bang Zhang out to deep waters. Zhilei Zhang has shown in the past that he is susceptible to gassing out. When you have fast twitch muscles and explosive power to knock people out the way Zhilei Zhang does, that definitely takes a lot more energy than slow twitch muscle fibers. Battle of attrition type of fighters like Joe Joyce who just throw and throw and keep on throwing, keep on throwing. Zhilei Zhang is picking his spots, putting power into it, and that takes more energy, especially as rounds wear on, which is usually the case with people who have lots of knockout power or lots of punching power. Zhilei Zhang will likely not try to change anything. He was finding so much success in that first fight against Joe Joyce. Zhilei Zhang was finding a home for his left hand, his straight left hand against Joe Joyce. And if needed be, he was cutting little small angles. They weren't very big angles. Mind you, he's a heavyweight, so his angles are, 3-4 degrees, couple of degrees to the left, couple of degrees to the right, just enough to get that left straight to find its home on Joe Joyce's chin. And he cracked it so bad that eventually he busted up Joe Joyce's eye, and the referee had to call a stoppage to the fight. I believe in what round it was. It came in the 6th round out of 12. And that was all to Zhilei Zhang's fluid movement and his ability to find openings in Joe Joyce's defense. Not that Joe Joyce has the most elusive defense, but you saw a lot of good fluid movement from Big Bang Zhang and the ability to move just enough to get his head off the center line while he's laying down heavy leather of his own on the opponent. And Joe Joyce has got his work cut out for him going up against a rematch, because Joe Joyce had his confidence docked a little bit in your first loss, as is natural. Zhilei Zhang came back from his first loss, a robbery decision against Flip Ergovic, and he's riding a wave of confidence because now the boxing world's eyes are on Big Bang Zhang, especially as it pertains to the heavyweight division and a potential stadium super fight out there in China amongst Zhilei Zhang's people. There's a potential for large amounts of money in that Zhilei Zhang direction. So you're going to want to pay attention to this fight, folks. It's going to be one that's going to be very entertaining for boxing fans. I'm going to have to go with, I want to pick Joyce on this one. I'm going to go with Zhilei Zhang to win this. And I think it might even be worse than the first time around. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Zhilei Zhang gets a late stoppage. I picked Joyce in the first fight. After seeing what I saw in that first fight with Zhilei Zhang dominating Joe Joyce, I think Joe Joyce might try to implement some stuff, and I don't know if it's going to be effective at all in stopping the inevitable. And I think Zhilei Zhang does even better. I think the fight maybe lasts a little bit longer, but I think Zhilei Zhang shows more wrinkles in his game. And now that he knows how to get his punches to connect, he's not going to be expending as much energy against Joe Joyce. So that's what I'm picking. Boxing community, how do you think the fight plays out between Zhilei Zhang and Joe Joyce this weekend at the Wembley Arena? Let me know in the comments section, y'all. Let's chop this one up. Hit that like button, by the way. So, I don't know. Maybe I've waxed too poetic about that subject between Joe Joyce and Zhilei Zhang, but let's flip out stateside. Richardson HItchins versus Jose Zepeda. We're getting back to the good old Americans. Let's give it up for Jose Zepeda. He is a stalwart in the 140-pound division. He's been around for years. Kind of a fan favorite in that division. And then you got Richardson HItchins, the red-hot prospect on the come-up. Richardson HItchins has been making a lot of noise, especially in his last performance against Juan Bauza. This is a fun fight. I think whoever wins this fight definitely sets themselves up in a very good position to get another shot at the winner of the Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis WBC 140-pound junior welterweight title fight. And it's a fun little card. It's going on out there in Orlando, Florida. On the undercard, you got your boy Amo Williams going up against Steve Rolls in the middleweight division. And then you got Jessica McCaskill against Sandy Ryan in a women's welterweight, world welterweight division in a welterweight unification title fight. Sandy Ryan has the WBO straps. Jessica McCaskill has the WBA, the IBO, and I believe the WBC. Let me see. She has the WBA, WBC, and IBO. Sandy Ryan has the WBO. Yeah. Sandy Ryan has the WBO. Jessica McCaskill has the WBC, WBA, and IBO. But the jewel is the headliner on that event. The jewel is going to be Richardson HItchins against your boy, Jose Zepeda. And it's interesting because Richardson HItchins is the first name on the flyer. Maybe this is a coming out party for Richardson HItchins. So let's talk about the guy on the second part of the flyer name, Jose Zepeda. Yeah. Let's see, where do I begin? Jose Zepeda is going to be fighting Richardson HItchins this weekend out there in Orlando. If you're from Southern California or you've been paying attention to boxing in the last few years, you know Jose Zepeda. He is one of those sturdy guys in the 140-pound division. His record as it stands right now is 36-3 with 27 knockouts. He's got power. He's got a bit of experience under his belt. His losses have only come against tough competition in championship title fights. His first loss when he challenged for a lightweight strap against Terry Flanagan back in 2015. And then Jose Ramirez. He challenged him for the WBC, the green 140-pound belt. And then he challenged Regis Prograis for that same WBC 140-pound belt that was dropped by Josh Taylor. He ended up getting stopped by Regis Prograis. He did keep a pretty good accounting of himself in that fight up until the stoppage happened. Most people are familiar with Jose Zepeda from that awesome fight of the year that he had in 2020 with Ivan Bedincek. The fight was done in 5 rounds, but there was 8 knockdowns in those 5 rounds, and it was pretty evenly split. It was like 4 knockdowns apiece. That last knockdown, it was a knuckle drag affair, like 2 cavemen just going at it, and it was something that was much needed during the COVID lockdown. He ended up getting a stoppage over Ivan Bedincek and made a lot of boxing fans with that performance. He is a southpaw. He can switch to orthodox, but definitely he's more comfortable and more familiar with boxing fans for fighting in a southpaw position. This weekend, Jose Zepeda's got his work cut out for him against a very, very well-schooled boxer in Richardson HItchins' boxing community. How do you think the fight plays out between Richardson HItchins and Jose Zepeda this weekend out there in Orlando, Florida? Let me know in the comment section what you think about that matchup. You know the deal, y'all. Let's chop this up. Hit that like button while we're here. And I did not get a chance to talk about Richardson HItchins. Richardson HItchins is nice, folks. He's nice. What is his overall record? I didn't write that one down. He doesn't have a deep professional record. He is 16-0 with 7 knockouts. So Richardson HItchins is coming into this fight against his toughest opponent so far in his career, Jose Zepeda. And Richardson HItchins only has 16 pro fights. In those 16 fights, he only has 7 knockouts. But don't let that knockout count fool you, folks. Richardson HItchins is a very, very well-schooled boxer. Deep amateur pedigree. He represented Team USA in the 2016 Olympics. He was one of the proteges of Floyd Mayweather Jr. For a minute there. I believe he was signed to Floyd Mayweather Productions or Floyd Mayweather's promotion company. I'm not sure if he still is now. But the fight I really got a good look at him at as a pro was in his last fight against John Bauza, who was another amateur standout that used to fight out there in the Northeast amateur circuit. So they were very familiar with each other in the amateurs. And he fought him on the undercard for the Jessica McCaskill, the Amanda Serrano versus Erica Cruz fight out there in New York. And he pieced up Juan Bauza something vicious. He is a very disciplined fighter, this guy, Richardson HItchins. He fights behind his jab. He's effective fighting forward. He's effective fighting on the back foot. He does not overextend himself. And he is relentless with the way he just target practice, pot shots you, and breaks you down. He is not going to be the kind of guy you would expect to see a knockout with, but he is kind of enjoyable to watch. I think hardcore boxing fans might not be so keen to him as they would be like a knockout artist, like a Gervonta Davis, as most fighters are not like Gervonta, but He definitely will get you if you like technical, effective, efficient boxers. He really reminds me of an orthodox version of a bigger Shakur Stevenson, really. He is very immensely talented. And Jose Zepeda definitely has his work cut out for him this weekend out there in Orlando, Florida against this Richardson HItchins kid. Boxing community, how do you think Richardson HItchins fares in this step up against Jose Zepeda? Let me know in the comment section, y'all. Let's chop this up. Hit that like button. You already know, folks. Likes and all that good stuff is what makes this algorithm work and function. And as far as the way that fight plays out, I think this is going to be Richardson HItchins' coming out party, folks. I think Richardson HItchins' technical skills and his reach advantage, he's got quite a few inches of reach. I'm not sure the exact count. He has 74 inches of reach on a 5'10" frame. And Jose Zepeda has 70.5 inches. So he's going to have about 3 or 4 inches, and he's going to effectively use every inch of that reach advantage. Richardson HItchins, I think, is going to put on a technical display and use Jose Zepeda to build up his name. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a clear decision victory in favor of Richardson HItchins. And I wish it wasn't Jose Zepeda, because I like Jose Zepeda, and I would love to see Jose Zepeda at least become a champion, because he has been such a fun fighter to watch over the course of his career. And this is his chance to get a title against a young and hungry lion coming up. But I think Richardson HItchins is going to be the one to pull off this decision. On that fight card, you've also got Emma Williams against Steve Rolls. Emma Williams has the potential to be one of the dark horses in the middleweight division. He's nice. Emma Williams is explosive. He's cagey. He has knockout power. He's aggressive. Sometimes his focus is not always there, but when he's focused and when he's on, he is easily one of the best in the division. He's going to fight against Steve Rolls. Steve Rolls is a solid dude. He's Steve Rolls, you know. He's one of those guys where you stick your fighter in to check whether or not he's ready to fight the top tier guys. So depending on Emma Williams' performance against Steve Rolls, we'll learn whether or not Emma Williams is ready for the top of the 160-pound division based on that performance against Steve Rolls. Berlanga won against Steve Rolls, but it was an ugly fight, and I think Berlanga lost a little bit of shine off struggling so difficultly against Steve Rolls. The last major fight to round out that fight card this Saturday in Orlando, Jessica McCaskill against Sandy Ryan. It's going to be a fun fight between those two. You already know what you get when you're talking about Jessica McCaskill. She throws them bows. She's kind of a loopy brawler. You know, she trains out there with Rick Ramos in Chicago. Probably most famous for her wins over Cecilia Brækhus. Back-to-back wins, and that's what made her the champion she is today. She's fighting Sandy Ryan, a young, hungry fighter from the UK that's got a little bit of amateur experience. Sandy Ryan is a little more disciplined. I question whether or not she can handle just the cardio output and the aggressive pressure of Jessica McCaskill. Although Jessica McCaskill did just come off a loss, she did lose against a very disciplined fighter. Let me pull it up. Why am I forgetting her name? That is a damn shame. She did lose against Chantel Cameron. No shame in losing to Chantel Cameron. Chantel Cameron can fight. She's nice. Chantel Cameron is one of the hottest new names coming up in women's boxing. She just got done beating Katie Taylor. But Jessica McCaskill, if her cardio holds up, I would pick her to win by decision. If her cardio does not hold up, because she is 39, she's got some years, she's been in a lot of heavy fights, Sandy Ryan could pull off the upset. But I think I'm going to lean with Jessica McCaskill by decision on this one. I'm not confident in that one. Let me know what you think about that fight between Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan. Leave a comment in the comment section. You already know the deal, y'all. This is Hot Boxing Minute. I'm going to end the video on that one. You already know the deal, y'all. Catch you on the next one, folks. Peace.